Oh, welcome back everybody to the Overwatch League APAC edition. I'm Vicky Kitty, and I'm joined, finally reunited with my duo Necra here for the broadcast. I'm excited, Necra, because we got some contenders clashing together for this final series that we have in our hands.
And I'm so excited that you're back, Vicky Kitty. I have missed you. So welcome back from across the pond, and yeah, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of this incredible Contenders Clash LAN that we have going on. We got treated to a LAN last weekend, and I'm so excited to do it again.
Yeah, I want to see the crowd. I want to see those signs. I already saw some excitement going into the series. We got Dreamers versus Poker Face. Saw some changes going into both these rosters. One roster maybe getting way more of an overhaul than the other, but it's more exciting to see the come up that we've had from our contenders teams going into the second week. Can they continue on that domination from the action that we saw from the first week?
Yeah, when you look at some of the roster changes that ended up going through, Poker Face didn't suffer too many losses, but Dreamers had a lot of promotion up into the Overwatch League, so they have a little bit of a retooled roster, but still with some incredible heavy hitters when it comes down to the DPS lineup, as well as how they round out the supports. So after how they ended up both doing in that very first weekend, really excited to see if Dreamers in particular can keep up with their momentum after getting 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, they're looking great. They're looking in form. And also, you can kind of say, even with the overhaul of the roster, this could be a run back match versus Poker Face. The revenge that they need after losing to them in the upper bracket during the spring stage knockouts. So that makes things even more exciting as we take a look at the stage. Love the screen, love the crowd that we got already getting set up while our players make their way over.
Oh, I cannot wait to be able to see the crowd support. One of my absolute favorite things about getting a chance to see the APAC crowds and the cheers. I mean, look back to the mid-season madness. That incredible audience was going absolutely full support there for any of the teams that were hitting the stage. So can't wait to see Poker Face come out as well.
Yeah, that and the watch party, Dreamers getting ready. Oh. I love it.
I love
it.
It. All
like
hands
they're already excited too. Yeah, they're all in. Just getting ready. They gotta stay seated, or rather standing right in front of their names while waiting out on Poker Face now as they make their way onto the stage.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, Poker Face has a ton of familiar faces that you should recognize if you are or have been watching the Overwatch League for multiple seasons now. You can see Valentine and Victoria from the Boston Uprising, Finale and Muse coming in from the Toronto Defiant, and they are also all in. Vicky, they're ready to go.
I'm excited. A lot of things to look forward to from both of these teams. I know with Dreamers and their recent success, especially with the way that they've been able to really pop off and make a name for themselves after being set down to that lower bracket in the spring stage knockouts, was absolutely insane. As we take a look at our match preview, Dreams don't roll, die.
I love that. It's so fitting as well, because Dreamers as a team got put together because they were dreaming. That was one of the things that they were really excited about going through those knockout stages in the East, to be able to earn a spot here, to be able to play out the rest of this stage alongside these Overwatch League teams. And Vicky, you touched on it. Yeah, sure, they got dropped by Poker Face in the East knockouts into the lower bracket very early on, but then Dreamers had the run of the century in the lower bracket. They were able to win so many matches back-to-back until unfortunately falling just short of making the mid-season madness, having to go up against the Hangzhou Spark in that final of the winner's bracket. That's a tough going there and a tough ask when it's Hangzhou Spark in front of you.
Right? Yeah, and that is with their flexibility. That's what the Spark said. You gotta look out for Dreamers. Definitely a team that you don't want to sleep on. Great to see this type of talent coming out of these contender teams, even with familiar names coming right back. They're also able to get the revenge on a Poker Face through that bracket run that you mentioned, an intense back and forth 5-map series. And we take a look at the starting lineup for today.
Yeah, so we're going to see Dreamer kick off this matchup. This is something that we ended up seeing in a few of our previous matches from Dreamers, and Dreamer makes the perfect choice, especially when we take a look at the map pool today. But Dreamer, well known for being able to play the Reinhardt as well as the Winston, the main tank force for this roster. There's also Liga. We may end up seeing a little bit out of Liga later today, but Liga is very well known for playing the Diva as well as the Sigma, and this first map doesn't necessarily lend itself to that.
Yeah, honestly, just highlighting the great tank flexibility that Dreamers has in total. That's why last week's map pool really helped them, especially versus Shanghai. Numbani allowing themselves to highlight the diva play from Liga right there. Lijiang that they were able to really get the upper hand in too. Could be a little cheesy sometimes, and with the way that they could play into some of these comps, it really works into their favor. Having that flexibility with Dreamer being on this starting roster rather than this lineup for this first map, it's going to be great to see how they can continue that as we take a look at the starting lineup for Poker Face.
Poker Face. I mean, what is there else to say about this team other than the fact that they are still a force to be reckoned with? The poor guys. They had to face off Dallas Fuel and Soul Infernal last week. Looking at kind of the records and how Dallas Fuel and Soul Infernal already did earlier today, I think the 0-2 loss record speaks for itself a little bit when it comes down to this roster and how they've done so far.
It's difficult out here, and you know, they were able to pick up a new assistant coach yesterday, Roar, who used to coach Justice back in 2020, I do believe, taking a look at some of these familiar faces. You highlighted it perfectly beforehand, Necra, and seeing some of these faces, Valentine, of course, coming in from the Boston Uprising, Finale coming through beforehand from the Toronto Defiant, Muse as well. It's going to be great. Aiden Simple, can they keep this up against a team like Dreamers who have been doing such a good job at remaining consistent to figure out what they have to do to have that flexibility that they have in that tank lineup?
I think this is where we can really see a test of strength for Poker Face. Dreamers may be a little bit easier to handle when it comes down to their opposition in the Eastern region and some of the other matchups they're going to have later on in the stage. So it starts here for Poker Face. If they can take a couple of maps off of Dreamers, I think that they can remain in strong contention as one of the stronger contenders teams entering into this stage. But it starts here. It starts if Muse can get the upper hand onto Dreamers as we take a look actually at some of the Ana stats between our two Anas on these teams.
Okay, Meeson versus Simple out here, seeing the impact that we have between one and the other. See those biotic grenade kills. Meeson has the upper hand there, having more of an advantage, but the survivability is something that catches my eye, Necra. Meeson being able to survive a lot longer here compared to Simple, having a much more difficult time. But when we talk about Poker Face, you also mentioned it before, man, this team is so nice. But if you look at it in general, more than a third of this team are either Overwatch level, or rather Owl level players, or former Owl players in general. So that's why there's so much on the line when it comes to that Poker Face trying to prove themselves. Going into our first map, we are starting off on Oasis.
I want to touch on those stats just a little bit. They look very skewed in favor of Meeson, but a lot of that does come down to the fact that Dreamers have won, Poker Face have not. So it really does come down to whether or not they're able to kind of start evening things out. So while Meeson looks a little bit better on the Ana right now, I definitely wouldn't count Simple out of the fight just yet. Now speaking to our first map of Oasis, this is exactly why we see Dreamer in the starting lineup. Not only is Oasis a really great map to be able to play the Reinhardt, which is Dreamer's best hero, but it also allows Dreamer to have a little bit of versatility when it comes down to City Center. If we go over there, I would expect to see Dreamer try to play the Winston, as it's able to contest a little bit better with the verticality that is offered on that map versus the Reinhardt choice.
That's the beautiful just coverage of Dreamer having that flexibility there too between the Winston and the Ryan, like you mentioned before. Wondering if we're going to stick to this here in the crowd. Love bringing all the energy that you got out into the arena for our contenders teams having their face off now. Let's get started already to get into position.
This is City Center, so expect the Winstons to come out. That's exactly what we're seeing. But Dreamer is going to be bringing just a little bit of a different look at this, as Top Dragon's going to be kicking things off on the Echo. This has been a strong look for Dreamer so far. Let's see if they can get it done here.
Love that follow-up from Finale right there to take care of the backline from Dreamers off the rip already. Not only was Valentine able to get the hack onto the health pack, so Dreamers can't have the advantage of moving forward there, but Simple also coming out with a nice ante.
Simple's ante really started to kick things off for this fight, and with the follow-up that Finale was able to get on the Tracer, you're already 63% towards a Pulse Bomb. Finale, in their first few matches, despite the fact that they were losses, were still able to land some critical sticks onto the backline of their opposition. So Dada and Meeson absolutely have to watch out for Finale, making a beeline for them.
Ray taking a different off angle. Top Dragon focusing beam. Tries to catch Muse, who manages to get away into safety right alongside Aiden and Simple. Gets onto the health pack. Already nearing 30% in favor for Poker Face. For Dreamers looking to try to get right back in, with Sad getting those 2 huge picks. Also delaying the EMP charge from Valentine here. Nice little flip for Dreamers.
Dreamers able to get that flip too, because Finale unfortunately not able to land that Pulse Bomb. And so with a few quick picks, Dreamers just off to such a great start. Sad now going to be able to start matching some of that damage output that Finale was putting down. And the flip also going to net Dreamers about the same percentage here, with ultimates to spare. But how are they going to fare against Valentine's EMP? If Poker Face can get back into a position to be able to land a couple of great hacks with this EMP, not a whole lot of defensive capability here from Dreamers.
Oh, the EMP is there, and there goes the duplicate. Popping the Ana as well. They've been able to just force him to try to run into traffic if possible here. Top Dragon is able to get away, and anti onto Dreamer again, but hugging the supports in the spawn room doors. Coming right back in. Look at the amount of progress that they were able to contain off of those 2 picks alone, and finding Simple again, who hasn't been able to leave the spawn.
What a great way to be able to defend from Valentine's EMP as well. That ended up getting a few members with the hack, but you saw the Primal Rage come through from Dreamer. Not enough follow-up there from the Ana to be able to land a couple of quick picks here, but let's see how this Nano Boost does.
The rally. See the hack that's Meeson here too. And it was too simple to keep the Poker Face from trying to contest in this choke point, but with Dada there too, you have to worry about the amount of impact that Sad has on the Pulse Bomb. Top Dragon coming in from the skies, also finding Simple. Both supports from Poker Face just have not been able to restabilize the moment that they were sent back to the spawn in the first place, Necra.
It's been so tough for Aiden and Simple to try to stay alive, and so we're going to end up seeing Poker Face just try to get their hand back into this one, swapping back over to the Sombra and Tracer, but it feels a little too late. Muse has the Primal Rage, you're going to need that for sustainability, but not before Top Dragon might get another duplicate online.
Overtime ticking away. Muse pops the Primal here. Valentine's about to get that EMP. He put him to sleep right in the air. Sniped him as he just fell off to the side here. Waking him up. Still having to try to contest this choke point, but once again, Aiden Simple facing off the difficulties that is Dreamer here. Top Dragon once again with the duplicate to help out the survivability after losing out their backline because of Finale and Muse here. Anti onto Aiden, but he's able to restabilize just immediately afterwards. Muse still not in the picture, and they are able to put the point 4 right now, but it's inevitable at this point. Dreamers have the numbers on the points here as Top Dragon, his duplicate, runs out before finding Finale right out of it.
Finale goes down. Valentine has an opportunity to be able to come back into this one and try to keep the flip here for Poker Face, waiting to have the reinforcements come through, but the EMP is online.
What can this EMP reap us here? The rewards, finding 2, and the anti. Great timing to stop Dreamer, preventing the Primal from coming in, even with the Nano Boost being used up onto Top Dragon. Overtime is taken away. Dreamers managed to flip it right back into favor, forcing Poker Face to back off for now. The rally being popped from Aiden is going to put them into position, but a nice anti coming in from Meeson stops the support, stops the backline, and completely now with Dreamers gone, allows Poker Face to retake this point.
That was in the nick of time as well. Dreamer's going to be able to capture 99% of the point. They are able to come back in with Dreamer's Primal Rage, maybe able to throw some hands of Poker Face into some cars. But it's going to take a lot here for Dreamers to try to work up to another ultimate to follow that up when Simple also has the Nano. Poker Face could get a little bit of a snowball rotation through their ultimates here.
Gonna rotate through. Go point. Top Dragon trying to nail down Muse. Simple. The Nano Boost ready. Nano Boost now activated already here as Muse trying to look for an opportunity to go over to the side. He gets hit with an anti himself here. still preventing Sad from trying to approach on the other side, taking away Poker Face, looking to even things out, forcing themselves now to have the advantage onto overtime. Duplicate being activated from Top Dragon. That's the difference maker that has been in these fights. Gets immediately booted out because of a nice anti from Simple, landing on both Top Dragon and Dreamer. Dreamer had the Primal though, and that was a difference maker. Muse here trying to fight for his life as he's now forced to pop the Primal. He only has Aiden available to help him out there, and Valentine has an EMP. This fight can go on for a while as long as Muse just stays on this point, forcing over the overtime. EMP lands up to Dreamer. He's trying to run for his life. He managed to get the health pack. Nano boost on top of that from Neeson is going to keep this fight going.
Oh my gosh, Dreamer getting the nano as well. Now it comes down to Finale's pulse bomb. If you're able to hit that through all of the chaos, but Sad goes down.
The shot coming in, finding Sad here. Neeson going incredibly low, and so does Dada, who made the death response over to the Lucio, almost even getting the beat there, nearing 80%. Trade for trade, Top Dragon still finding two here, has found Simple and Muse. Dreamer going out, no survivability from Top Dragon. He didn't have the duplicate, and after such a long fight, getting the turnaround. Poker Face take round one.
That was so scrappy. Vicky, you called it. This map and this round already going the distance here. That final fight went absolutely crazy. It looked like for a moment there, like Dreamers might have been able to get it, but then Poker Face, the scrappiness paying off.
Just the rotation on ult. This is the beginning. This is an amazing start here from Finale. Leading it up to even the ante from the follow-up. Yes, Simple had gone down. Dreamer had even made it a personal mission to stop Simple and keep Simple by the spawn room doors. Even with all that in the very beginning, Poker Face still managed to clutch out that first round. Again, it was just a cycle of those ultimates that just kept that fight going for so long, and Valentine with a crucial EMP at the end.
Yeah, and so much patience to be able to execute that as well. It's so tempting when you get that online and you feel the panic set in to just go ahead and hit it, but waiting for that reinforcement to be there. Now we get a chance, though, to see Dreamers in their element. Okay, Dreamer, maybe not known for his Winston play nearly as much for the Reinhardt. And you've got Sad and Top Dragon there to really help amplify a lot of that damage when you have the teleporter to navigate and rotate around. Finale? Ooh, you don't want to be there.
Oh. And then caught him off by the portal on the high ground. You said it, Necro. Dreamer in his element himself being on this Rhine. They do lose out on Top Dragon at first here. That are doing a really good job at trying to help heal Neeson. He's falling low, but Sad's already getting set up with these turrets on the points. Also trying to stop the rotation up to the high ground. Look how quick with the reaction as Dreamer's right there holding hands with Sad.
Symmetra, this is exactly why it's so important. The teleporter is just allowing for so much quick rotation here from Dreamers.
Now you see them, now you don't. Sad will immediately go right back to the high ground of a Dreamer, being able to push forward right off that window that Neeson puts down. The photon barrier on top of that, nice anti, but it's not going to be able to get the follow-up by this Valentine, sending out that pulse bomb. That's all he needs with Aiden having the rally. That's going to set Poker Face up in the driver's seat, clear the way, with Dreamer even trying to throw around that hammer. It's not going to be enough damage to negate everything coming out from Poker Face.
Poker Face had to throw quite a bit of that, though. Very valuable rally to be able to contend with some of these more AoE-focused ultimates now coming out from Dreamers. You have the Shatter, the Blizzard as well is such a great engagement tool here for Dreamers to try to push Poker Face off of the point. Oh, and you don't want to be in that room either.
Oh.
Dreamers got the Shatter.
That was so scary. Even the Dragon's just acting as an insurance policy just in case here, but the Shatter comes out. The cleanup from Dreamer and Sad. That was first, though, with Poker Face being able to take care of the back line. That may be all they need, dropping down into the health pack. Muse is not going to let Dreamer get away with this. Meanwhile, happening on the high ground, it's Top Dragon finding Aiden, who had a very impactful rally in the previous fight. Now, losing out on Aiden, as Simple is just going to be the only support here to help out the rest of Poker Face. Delaying the inevitable before Dreamers can maybe finally flip this point. Sad's trying to fight for his life, but Muse has not given it up.
Wow, Muse is being kept alive so nicely by a lot of the pocket coming through from Simple and Aiden, but Neeson's finally able to follow that up, but maybe not if Finale has something to say about this.
Finale and Valentine. Are you kidding me? That was insane from them both. Valentine, that just beat a nail in the coffin. Where are you going, Dada? He managed to get away from now. Valentine's like, you could hold that for managing to go back to this team, but insane pop-off there. Basically, Finale holding it down, and Valentine just finishing them off.
that incredible clutch factor coming through from 2DPS you know and love from the Overwatch League, and Poker Face just showing themselves why they can show up to this match today so far. But Sad has switched over to the Sombra, has the EMP almost online, and Dreamers, they gotta fight their way back into this.
See, losing out a Finale first here. Nearing 40%. Grace at that time, Simple having to look right behind him before he got hacked, and the EMP is online. Nice anti-Costada his life. He has the sound barrier here too, which would have been huge. With Dreamer taking a nap, nearing that shatter, the backline has been shattered. Gone away from the Dreamers. Sad being able to find Simple, though. It's not going to be enough with the numbers favoring Poker Face here. They flip the point right back in their favor, and they'll be able to come right back in with the nano boost. But that isn't before Dreamer pops his head back into the party and gets sent right back home.
Oh, Sad has to come in and touch. The EMP getting utilized there and just finding no value. Opens the door for Poker Face. They almost give up the point here as Dreamer step off.
Oh, every single time we see these two teams play off against each other, it's always a banger, and Poker Face take the first map in this series.
They were saying Dreamers may be the top contenders team to beat, but Poker Face, they've already shown us time and time again why they are also a force to be reckoned with. And with all of the star power that they have on this team, I would expect nothing less than a banger for this series.
They have all the pieces that they need to succeed, Necra, and Poker Face is an amazing team. When things go according to plan, they immediately just pop off. But when things don't, they just happen to choke and they look like they're in shambles. This is going to be one of those moments, though, taking that first map to carry on that momentum. Let's see what we got from the Dreamers going on to map number 2. That's going to be here on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everybody. Poker Face take map number 1 on Oasis. Now, as we move on to map number 2, Dreamers being the team that a lot of people had their eyes on. Struggling a little bit in that first map. Poker Face really making the turnaround, Necra.
Gotta give so much credit there to Finale in that very first map as well. I mean, the Tracer, all of the Hanzo headshots, it felt like Poker Face were in firm control of the map based on their DPS picks, despite the fact that it was super close. Now, also when you take a look at Control 2, I mean, that was Dreamer's first loss. Maybe you would have expected heading into that map that they would have been able to take it.
First Control loss too, that's huge here, being one of their strongest maps that they work with. We are seeing some changes going into Poker Face, where we're going to have Victoria coming in and Valentine sitting out, so we can expect more of that Sombra Sojourn to come out here. Probably the Sombra more than anything, seeing that we are moving on to Midtown for a map number 2. But I also want to give a nice little shout out to those of you guys sitting in the crowd. Love seeing those happy faces, excited to cheer on their team, because we got our contenders face off here in LAN between Dreamers and Poker Face.
So exciting to be able to see that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the substitution that we are going to see here. You already touched on it, Vicky. We're definitely going to be seeing a little bit of a difference when it comes down to the hero pool. Victoria really loves to play those more long-range hit scans, as well as being able to have the ability to flex over to the Sombra. And when you talk about Midtown, that is great flexibility to have. On point B, you can play a lot with those long-range sights. And when it comes to the Sombra, being able to lock everything down, those health packs, even just if you're expecting a Sombra to also come out from the enemy team, this gives you a great fighting chance.
Especially when these two teams always go back and forth with one another. Also, shout out to Unknown seeing the signs. Go to work, go watch Overwatch League, watch my team win. Love to see things like that in the crowd and try to support their favorite teams. Give them the energy that they need, especially after Poker Face won that first map already. Just getting loaded here, and excited too to see some of this flexibility, because we are still having Dreamer here in the lineup for Dreamers, as we do move over onto Midtown. Always funny to say Dreamers. They are Dreamers at the end of the day, looking for themselves to achieve the dream that they want within a competitive Overwatch.
Yeah, we got a chance to see Dreamers actually play this map of Midtown versus their match against Panthera, and Dreamers ended up playing a lot of Sombra, Tracer, Winston, Brig, and Ana. Muse is such a phenomenal Winston as well. You might not expect to see Liga in the roster, given that Liga ends up liking to play the Diva dive over the Winston, and that really is their bread and butter. But because of how strong Muse's Winston is, I feel like it ends up being a more tough matchup to try to play the Diva versus the Winston here.
Especially after seeing that impact in that first map here too, doing such a good job alongside Finale, Valentine. This is a good matchup that we have in our hands. Honestly, Necra, just to play devil's advocate here, going into this series, I was really expecting Dreamers to have that pop-off moment. Yeah, it was map number 1, but it was a good way to start the pace of the series for Poker Face, especially since their first 2 matchups were very difficult for them to really put more points on the board, making sure that those head-to-heads that we saw earlier aren't going to be the same at the end of this series. Now listening to the crowd while we get started for map number 2 here. Heard the cheering earlier on before while they were getting ready. Now I'm getting a little hungry here too, looking at that pizza.
I know, I love our observers for that, but also, please, I'm so hungry. But I'm also hungry to see the action that we've got coming out from both of our teams. Dreamer's actually going to start to rely a little bit more on the Ramatra that Dreamer can come out with. This is not a hero that we ended up seeing too much of when Dreamer ended up playing through the knockouts. However, when you're trying to bolster it up with some of the new DPS that you have, the backline that you're able to rely on, the Ramatra can absolutely put in some work. Poker Face is going to have a little bit of a hard time approaching this unless they're able to find a good dive target, but they're going to end up going through the tram right now to try to make their way towards point.
I get through that choke here too. Sad also being on that Ash is huge, with Muse being the first to get taken down. Sure had a nice impact, dealing a good amount of damage before there, being on the Hanzo this time around, but having to play a lot more passively here, giving more of this space over to Dreamers after taking that first pick.
Dreamers have a nice control over the defense at the moment. I love the Hanzo pick coming out from Victoria, though, because it really helps to try to chunk down the Ramatra shield. Oh, it's just steady goings here as we do see Pokerface start to hit the corner.
And the follow-up there, too, between Simple and Muse as well. Nap that Dreamer taken before backing away. Nano Boost now put onto Dreamer. Being able to build up that Nano Boost rather quick in comparison to Simple here. They didn't have Muse at the very beginning. Dreamer holding that choke point amazingly. Dragon's coming out, controlling some more of that space from the back of that choke. Huge anti onto Dada and Dreamer. That's going to cost Dreamer his life. The backline deleted as Dreamers exit out and Pokerface now move onto the point.
Really good attack push coming out here from Pokerface. It was just a little bit of a game of inches. Take a little bit, have to give, take 2 steps back, and then you're able to start pushing forward. And Pokerface have been rewarded with a ton of ultimates now coming into the second section of Midtown. You had to throw out the DPS ults there, but now when you take a look at how much space Muse can create with the Winston Primal Rage being online, Winston wins out this tank duel when you're able to just push them out of the way.
Turret's doing so much damage here. Top Dragon. Gonna get away. Nice lift on the wall to try to get a different angle onto Pokerface, but still so much pressure. Has a Blizzard in hand here, as well as the Annihilation for Dreamer. Muse pops the Primal here. And a boost right behind him from Simple, ready to get put on here if necessary. It's moved away, but it's about clearing this initial space that can be so difficult on this point. Early saw the Blizzard being unleashed too from Top Dragon. They do find Simple, who can't use the Nano Boost. No rally either from Pokerface. 2 huge ults that would have allowed them to clear that under area tunnel space from that bridge. It's a fight for the high ground here for Dreamers as they still continue to put on this showcase to force Pokerface out. Muse gets that 1 pick and backs away.
Gotta be careful though. Finale is getting into a position to be able to use this Pulse Bomb. With Muse dropping on top of them too. Everybody on Dreamers is stuck in the corner.
Oh, he's still alive here. He's by the inch. The little crevice from the wall behind him. And after that, Finale gets revenge on the Top Dragon for trying to be cheeky. The Nano Boost from Simple. Aiden pops the rally here, trying to help out Dreamer. Neeson from the back. Nano Boost not going to be able to get put to use for this fight, with Dreamer getting taken out and set immediately afterwards. Finale is doing what he did in the last map, and it's these follow-ups between himself, Aiden, and Muse that are just allowing themselves to clear these close quarter areas.
The Nano was wasted. The Nano was wasted. You're delaying the inevitable at this point. With that Nano onto Dada, look at all the staggers that have come through. Pokerface can just push this payload over that second point, and in fact, just push Dreamers into their spawn. Ouch.
Did you miss us? Making sure to let them know. My goodness. Even with those staggers from the very beginning, Necker, that was insane.
Yeah, that was really insane. At this point, Dreamers have to make a bit of a swap. Dreamer going over to the Winston now, over the Ramatra, but I would have liked to see the Winston way earlier than this. The Winston plays so well on that second point. What Dreamers were hoping for is to be able to take these close quarter brawls on the high ground, but oh my gosh, Top Dragon has to use the ice block, getting forced out there by Muse. Victoria gets a pick.
Which is also big here. Aiden was also one at one point and then was able to get away in time. Blizzard also being used up here, clearing up some of that space in retaliation is Victoria, who also has now been able to find Dreamer. Top Dragon has not been having a good time being on this map. Between the Blizzards not having the impact that they need, the wall has come in clutch a few times, but hasn't been able to really nail down the isolated targets, with Victoria breaking them down so quick.
And Top Dragon now having to panic switch over to the Tracer. Somebody has to go touch on Dreamers before Pokerface ends up capping this entire map with a ton of time left in the bank.
Rally for rally, well, the Bob makes an appearance here for Dreamers. See Aiden just clearing so much of that space, while Simple doing a really good job at holding his position side by side with Aiden. A nice anti now being thrown from left field from Meeson. Trying to put down the sleep, and then the follow-up again from Victoria, finding Sad. Gotta try to stay alive for now. Doesn't have the help manage. Dreamer having the primal, but nobody can get onto the point here. They're able to clear it out completely, finish it off. Dreamers can't contest. You could currently see, I love the chat, Top Dragon, C9.
Okay, that's not a C9. I can't give that a C9 label, knowing that Muse was just juggling everybody off of the point. It was even Muse that started that first. That's
that
savage.
Meeson just
That's
looked at
savage,
Muse. Playing off the fence line, not being able to put a toe on that payload. He was holding that front line beautifully. Rest of the Dreamers was just being harassed all the way back to their spawn after getting taken down originally by Victoria's hands. By the way, 6.4k damage alone, breaking through not just those May walls that we saw earlier, but when we had seen originally there too, the Ram Void Barrier just getting deleted. The bubble, no difference there too. They're doing a really good job at making sure that there's really no space that Dreamers had to work with.
It's another great call out for Victoria's Hanzo pick. Not only just to deal with the Ramatra shield, but also the May walls. That wasn't saving Dreamers more often than not because of how much damage Victoria was putting down onto the shields alone. That is an impressive amount of damage per 10. The fact that Dreamer was able to get really close to matching that does speak volumes to the proficiency that Dreamers has on this Ramatra. Dreamers are going to try to run it back, hope it fares a little bit better on the attack than it did on the defense of those first 2 points. But Pokerface still completed the map with a ton of time in the bank. And look at where Victoria is sitting too, right on top of the fire truck, hoping to get a cheeky little headshot as Dreamers start to make their way forward.
Simple with a snipe on the sleep right off the rip too. The moment that Dreamers just poked their heads out. Nice little check there for Pokerface. Mention it, Victoria with the first pick again. Onto Meeson. Dreamer gets hit with a huge anti. Working in sync is Pokerface right now. They're looking so good. Once again, taking another team fight win here. Holding forward around this next corner. They're going to be able to just clear even more time away from Dreamers before they regroup.
Oh, Muse is thinking about it. He's like, do I go touch the spawn door right now? Am I feeling bold enough to try to go meet that challenge head on? I'm glad he didn't. I think he would have gotten picked off. That would have been absolutely punished by a team like Dreamers. But take a look at Finale now, sneaking around the back. This Tracer just been so obnoxious in the backline for Dreamers to have to deal with.
Cheeky, and then they're so busy looking at their front line here because of Victoria. But that's a great first pick while shutting down Finale from trying to harass Top Dragon. Dreamer getting napper right now before finally waking up here. The Dragons have been unleashed, but they did lose out on Finale and Simple at the very start of that fight. Meanwhile, Muse gets hit with a huge anti and a sleep start from Meeson, and this is the opportunity now for Dreamers to make their way over to the point, flip this, and start getting this payload moving.
Top Dragon was under a ton of aggressive pressure coming through from Pokerface. But now that the sides are swapped, onus is kind of on Top Dragon here to be able to start pushing the tempo a little bit with Dreamer in the front line as well. Now Pokerface, they do have to get set up here on the high ground. Wait for this cart to come to them. Dreamers don't have to push too far forward here. It's really now on Muse to try to make the initiative dive for Pokerface to start getting some of their defense back down on this cart.
Trying to enable that space. You see what the problem is on the higher ground, being Victoria deleting that Ram barrier here. The wall right on top of that gives enough of a little lift here for Victoria to find Top Dragon again. Dreamer, with the follow-up off of that anti, gets taken out to the Dada. They are going to have a bunch of ults to work with. A plethora of ults actually here from Dreamers. But so do Pokerface in this next fight.
That Maywall was supposed to help block off Victoria's line of sight onto the rest of the team and ended up being a detriment. Victoria just wall climbed on top of that and said thank you for the vantage point. That was great. And Finale too, now getting set up on the high ground, gets a chance to throw this pulse bomb down from the top ropes, nailing a support in the back, and then this huge
no! Finale! Hanging out on the top. Don't look over your head. It's not a bird or a plane. That's the fallen Tracer sticking your Ana with the pulse. The rally ready for both sides here. Top Dragon gets a nice heady onto Victoria. Great here for Dreamers to still maintain that aggression. Meanwhile, Simple hanging out in the back here. Holding hands with Aiden while Dreamers try to force their way on top of the high ground. Meeson gets taken out here too. Rally being forced now here as the nano boost won't be used in this fight. Dreamer also holding on to the annihilation for these close quarter fights here. Another anti from Simple now onto Sad. Here come the Dragons, so they clear up the rotation point onto the high ground, giving them some extra space for Pokerface to then regroup here, finish off what's left of Dreamers and what Dreamer was left of. More delaying here from the time bank. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. A finale is clearing everybody from Dreamers.
That just might be a full house right there. I mean, Poker Face at this point, they've got firm control of the high ground. Dreamers haven't been able to progress this car any further than that point anyway. And what really stinks about that push, Vicky, look at all the ultimates that Dreamers had to throw at that one. They were already off sync when Top Dragon ended up throwing out the Blizzard and Neeson went down for the Pulse Bomb stick. Dreamer at least has a chance to push everybody off of high ground here with the Annihilation, but oh my god, what a huge ante.
Oh, Dreamer forced pop the Annihilation. He was so low originally from that 3-man ante. As he holds forward, you see the rest of Poker Face so quick to disengage, giving them enough space to shut down Dreamer. Even with a Nano Boost put on Sadada to just hold forward alongside Dreamer, it's not going to be enough. Stopping them in their boots is going to be Victoria finding Dada. Everybody funneled from Dreamers inside of this side room. It's just going to be easy pickings for Poker Face. More time wasted away for them. No cheeky push here on the card for Meeson.
You'd think that with the composition that Dreamers is running as well, fighting in a small room like that should give them an upper hand. But the way that Poker Face are pincering Dreamers into those small chokes is making it super difficult for Dreamers to actually get the initiation. Dreamer! Oh my gosh, she's getting chunked down already. And Victoria has the Dragon Strike just to be able to throw at them.
Victoria, they have a family. Aiden also has been popping off, and Finale gets a finisher. Double headshot from the DPS lineup of Poker Face. It does cost Victoria here. They want to capitalize off of this with less than a minute left. The Nano Boost coming out here. Stop Simple. Dada retaliating back. See that they're in the side room here. Immediately gets taken out by Muse, having the opportunity. No stun here with the shield bass here that we saw earlier from Aiden. Instead, it's going to be a clearing the house from Poker Face. Top Dragon gets the initial pick here too onto Aiden, but the number advantage is still in favor for Poker Face now with less than 30 seconds.
Poker Face have such a playground to work with as well. Finale going to go ahead and top himself up with that Mega Health Pack. And what do Dreamers have to be able to contest with this? They need the rally from Dada to be able to come online. They also want Meeson's Nano to be able to help bolster up the backline, especially when you know that Finale's going to be hunting him down with his Pulse Bomb. They're running out of time. Vicky, they've got 5 seconds left.
Isolate the problem. Victoria, that's been on this high ground here. Oh no, but the anti and the follow from Finale there with some help from Muse. They found Meeson, no Nano Boost here. Dada won't be here. The rally won't do anything. Overtime taken away. While Poker Face have already one map in the pocket, and you're going to have to make it 2 at this point. They hold back Dreamers and take map number 2, setting them up here in the series.
Victoria had almost 13,000 damage. Over 30% of the entire team. And boy, did that damage come up absolutely clutch. Victoria started off so many of those engagements just getting a quick headshot, chunking down Dreamer on the Ramatra. All of that damage set up Poker Face for success. That is a very nice lead to start taking in this series.
Making those adjustments. We talked about the tank flexibility from Dreamers. Look at Poker Face right now with their DPS flexibility. Having Victoria come in after taking map number 1 with Valentine's being on that Hanzo, having the impact necessary to make sure that shields aren't an issue here from Dreamers. Deleting the main wall, deleting the Ramatra barrier. It's crazy to see what we can see from both these teams. That's going to be map number 2 in the book for Poker Face. Let's go on to map number 3 on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Overwatch League. Poker Face currently sitting at match point 2-0 after the last two previous maps go back in their favor. Moving on to map number 3. Necra, I'm not surprised. We talked about how strong the individual pieces are on Poker Face. They had to deal with two incredibly strong teams last week. They lost to the Soul Inferno, they lost to the Dallas Fuel. Looking on the other side, Dreamers had a much better start. But this team comp that they're working with may have just burned out here in front of our eyes because it is not working out in the way that we were expecting maybe this series to go the distance.
There is absolutely something to be said about the strength of schedule for both of these teams. Talked about Poker Face, their losses versus Dallas Fuel and Soul Inferno, but Dreamers' wins are versus Shanghai Dragons and Panthera. Even earlier today, when we saw the Shanghai Dragons compete against the Dallas Fuel, it kind of looked like they were floundering a little bit. So maybe not the best litmus test to be able to put Poker Face up against either, as well as Dreamers, maybe a little bit of recency bias there from their current scoreline of the stage. Poker Face, though, there was a reason why they were considered one of the top teams coming into the East knockouts. And they're also proving how a strength of a roster sticking together can be such a good thing.
They need the Dreamers fans in the crowd right now, holding up those signs to give them that energy to flip this right back around. Love seeing the crowd support for our tier 2 teams out here trying to make a name for themselves. We are moving on to Route 66, Necra. What adjustments can you expect here from Dreamers now moving on to an escort map?
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I actually saw the substitutions already, so we're going to get Liga in for Dreamer, and I think it makes a lot of sense. When you look at Dreamer's performance so far, maybe a bit of discomfort there on the Winston, trying to force the Ramatra on a map versus a very strong Winston dive, see if the Liga swap will be able to help them out on this next map. You gotta shout out Victoria, though. Those stats are wild. Like I said before, almost 13,000 damage. That works itself out to about 10,500 per 10. But it's the eliminations that get me.
Survivability out there too. Victoria in the best position to be the biggest impact in deleting everything that Dreamer had to try to at least make space for the rest of their team, just gone. And then the initial picks that we also saw from Victoria with the elims that we currently see on board, 21 out here per 10 is insane. Victoria with that one map coming for that second map, just having the most impact that we've seen so far, even with a great start on that first map for Valentine.
And Victoria is going to be staying in as well. As we take a look very shortly at the next map that we're going to be going to in this series, it would make a lot of sense. Poker Face have already had a chance to be able to showcase their skills on Route 66. That's right, that's where we're going. And when they ended up playing that map out versus the Dallas Fuel, they played Hanzo Tracer. If Victoria is popping off like that, why would you sub him out?
I love the Kirby in the back with the cool glasses. Love being able to see all these signs. I love it. Even coming through with their Dreamer unicorn headband.
Aww.
I became a unicorn to support Dagon from Dreamers. Oh, you love to see it. Shout out to Unknown once again. The GOAT, literally behind the scenes. We get to take a look at our next map. It is going to be Route 66, which makes a lot of sense when you take a look at Dreamers having Liga coming in here, possibly on that Diva, being able to get onto the high ground, just be able to peel for your backline as quickly as possible if necessary here. But I'm excited to see how this is going to turn things around for Dreamers, if it does.
You have to be able to do something against the Hanzo. Diva feels like a perfect choice when you've got the defense matrix to be able to soak up a lot of that damage, and peel, such a important aspect of the Diva that I love that you called out as well. Liga, every time that he's been in the roster, has been able to show us such a delicate balance of peel and initiation with the Diva, which is something that is very hard to accomplish in Overwatch 2, just given how much responsibility does fall on you as the single tank.
I always loved watching Liga, even back when he was on the Hanzo Spark. He's got a masterclass Diva, and this may be what Dreamers need right now, just to keep them steady after their initial comp just has not been working out for them here against Poker Face. Now getting ready.
What a great way to be able to kick off the map, as we are going to load into Route 66, get a chance to take a look at what these teams are going to settle on, as we will see the gates open up very shortly. Dreamers are already set up on the high ground and trying to play a little bit closer. This gives Dreamers an opportunity to be able to get even 2 more contests in if all else fails at this very beginning. Okay, Widowmaker's strat with the Life Weaver not going to work out, but we will see Pokerface settle onto this composition we expected them to based on their match versus the Dallas Fuel.
We could just met them head on after that attempt right there. Just backing away, wasting no time. As they should here, but oh my, Sad answering right back. Getting revenge after the previous map. Victoria goes down, and Simple finds himself in the line of sight from Sad here, holding this high ground position off to the side.
Now we got to talk a little bit about the Winston versus the D.Va matchup. Muse has been really great being able to lay down those bubbles to protect the backline, or even just be able to save himself or block off any of the healing coming through from Dada and Nixon. The Dreamers right now, with all of the damage that they've been able to do at the spawn and no progress yet for Pokerface. I was going to say Top Dragon was going to have the pulse bomb online, but okay, Muse. Okay, Muse.
Oh, finishing off what was already picked at from the side. Victoria now gonna be able to find Sad, but Muse opening up the opportunity here for Pokerface to at least find some room to breathe and hold forward.
That happened so fast, I was not prepared for that. I'm so sorry. So, taking a look at what's gonna happen now, though, Top Dragon did go down with a pulse bomb. Has the opportunity to be able to come back with that. 3 really great targets, but it's gonna be a swing and a miss.
Finale does have that pulse bomb ready here. Trying to get way more of an impact. Nana boost onto Muse. Finale trying to toss it out. Doesn't get the impact from that pulse. Ooh, but Sad on the high ground. Finding Finale is going to be big. Especially since they're going to be able to hold that high ground here. Muse with a great reset onto the Primal, but then immediately gets put to sleep. Having to get away. Double whammy there. Muse not only went for the Primal reset, was forced to use it on top of it, and still got deleted off the rip. Even though he tried to run away, it wasn't enough before you saw the impact that we saw from Sad there, having the Dragons for that next fight as well as Victoria.
Liga is doing such a phenomenal job of marking down Victoria. Every single time Victoria is in a position on the high ground to be able to rain some shots down onto the DPS or the backline of Dreamers, Liga's in his face. The defense matrix being able to soak up so much of the damage, and you also don't have a D.Va on the other side to try to eat up any of these other consumables here on Dreamers.
This pulse bomb definitely sticks, and it sticks onto Aiden, who won't have the rally for this fight. Just forces Beast to back off, just giving Dreamers some more space, wasting even more time away from Pokerface. You talk about it perfectly, Necro. Just trying to nail down Victoria. Essentially, Liga's just been the bodyguard between Victoria and the rest of Dreamers, especially with that Matrix. Now, less than a minute on the clock.
That is going to be really tough for Pokerface to chew through unless they're able to get something done here with Finale's Pulse Bomb. Big Dragon Strike to be able to try to LOS everybody away.
Oh, especially off to the side right here, too. Finale now gets the Pulse Bomb onto Houston as Simple pops the Nana boost himself onto Muse. Muse takes on top of the high ground, top of the gas station. Tries to force some more pressure onto Sad, and look who is right there to help him out. It is Liga. Liga also has a reset if necessary, but it doesn't even look like it's needed here just yet with Muse getting taken down. Now the rally from Aiden. This is the perfect time to initiate it. Clear the point. Nice back away, though, from Pokerface, using that rally to just reposition inside of the gas station. Pulse Bomb isn't going to have the impact here, too. Liga has just been huge for Dreamers to make this entire turnaround, holding this defense away from Pokerface from getting that first kick.
Oh, they're down to overtime as well. It's going to be a huge photo finish. Top Dragon maybe able to get it done.
Top Dragon being able to find Aiden here. Backline gone from Pokerface. No survivability while Finale sends out the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't get the impact that they so desperately needed here. Getting taken down by Liga again, who hasn't died, by the way, yet. Top Dragon now falls susceptible to Victoria. Overtime still taking away. 3 out for Pokerface, but everybody from Dreamers is still alive with the rally. You can hear the audience giving them the support that they absolutely needed, because that was a beautiful hold with Liga making the appearance on this team for this map.
Such a beautiful hold, and such a dominant one at that. The way that Dreamers are able to flip between each of the high ground presences. Liga again having such a great awareness of how to be able to deal with Victoria's Hanzo.
Oh, this is beautiful.
That Hanzo had so much less impact. And poor Muse getting absolutely bullied. Just having a tough time making those initiations.
Ran away, popped the primal to reset, jumped right back in, gets put to sleep, tries to run away again, and it gets taken out of the skies. So much damage from Dreamers on top of that gas station, but also the angles from Easton in the back there too.
Meeson had also great awareness of being able to land those sleeps and antes onto Poker Face. But Vicky, if this tells you anything, Victoria actually died the most in this lobby. Not by much, because we have a very small sample size, but 4 is a lot compared to everybody else.
Dreamers really said Victoria is the problem. Managing to focus down what Victoria brought to the table in the last map, as they should here, especially bringing in Liga here. That's what D.Va could do best, making sure that they can contest Victoria on these high ground positions and off angles where they want to split the attention between Victoria and Finale, being the Tracer to harass your backline.
It looked really great on Dreamer's defense. I wouldn't put it past Poker Face to get a fuller hold, though. Their defenses have also looked very, very strong, especially calling back to Midtown that we just saw. Still a lot to ask for, but Finale's off to a great start.
Riley isolating Top Dragon, the high ground data, but we do have Liga right there. Muse to the same, gets deleted immediately right afterwards. The nice focus from Sad on the other side. Now with no space here and a nice anti onto Dada and Top Dragon, that opens things up for Sad to find a backline. You can hear the audience again giving that support over to Sad, the cheers. Now Poker Face having to desperately change things up. You see Muse now on the Doom.
He has recognized it's going to be very tough for Poker Face to get another contest in unless he goes over to the Doomfist to be able to get back to point a little bit faster. The Doomfist also provides you with a lot of pressure onto these squishier heroes, but with the Nano, oh, you don't want to be there.
The Nano boost and the
That's
yeet
me.
on the anti. Oh, Liga is a raid boss, and everybody from Poker Face is getting cleared out with the flex right at the very end. Dreamers are still in this as they take map number 3 on Route 66, putting it to 2-1. We are still in this, Necra.
Look at the smiles on Dreamers' faces as well. They are so happy about that map win because they needed it. It would have been a shutout series for Poker Face if Dreamers hadn't been able to get that map, and just maybe Dreamers have figured out a way to be able to crack the armor of Poker Face. It took Liga Stiva to be able to try to get that done.
And Liga looked so seamless doing it too. Taking a look at the audience who were cheering for Dreamers originally before getting into that match. Metro, we heard them cheering their name. They were smiling. They got the audience power up here too. Take a look at the cute frog that we also got out here. Love seeing this energy here from our crowd, but also even better to see the series go the distance here. Poker Face turning things around at the very beginning, putting themselves at match point early on after winning Midtown. Now Dreamers trying to get the reverse maybe here after taking Route 66. Is it going to be enough though for Liga to continue on this domination onto D.Va? I know our next map will be pushed onto Colosio. We're going to have to see how this goes on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere because Dreamers are still in this. Welcome back, everybody. Liga swoops in on the mech and helps the Dreamers' dreams stay alive after taking map number 3 on Route 66 with one of their more successful comps that they've been rocking to have the success that they have thus far.
D.Va looked way better for Dreamers, unfortunately, than Dreamers. Winston looked for them. But Poker Face, they're a strong opponent. They make Dreamers have to think about these individual map choices just a little bit more. And if it's going to be Liga that really helps to bolster up the team's offense and defense, you may as well continue to rely upon that, as neither roster is going to be making any changes heading into this next map.
Makes you know here, while the fans still show their support in the crowd to allow the Dreamers to have their dream come true and maybe getting the reverse sweep that we're waiting for against Poker Face. Means that Liga is going to still be in this lineup, and I like to see that, especially looking at the map that we're going to be moving on to, Coliseo. So being on that push, we're going to still have Liga play very similarly to what we had also seen on Route 66. Did such a good job at not only helping heal for that DPS that we had seen from Sad to really pop off on those Hanzo moments, but also doing a really good job at body blocking and certain choke points that would have been detrimental into finding some of those crucial picks, even denying the opportunity of the sightlines from Victoria.
The nano boost onto Liga and then locking down that canyon was so nice to watch. That was really the nail in the coffin there for Dreamers to be able to end up taking that map of Route 66. But I wonder how they'll fare here. Coliseo, it is another very dive-centric map that we have seen in the past. You expect that with no roster swaps, we still may get a chance to see very similar compositions coming out on this map as we ended up seeing on Route 66. So Liga's got to show up once again on the D.Va to be able to repeat that success.
At least here, just looking at their track record, currently Dreamers are 2-0 on push in general. Poker Face currently have lost that one map that they had to play on to push. Seeing if we can turn that stat around. Getting set up here, though, it's going to be Dreamers still sticking to their guns and what they've been able to find the most success on with this D.Va. That's why we keep highlighting Liga. It was always so great to see him on the Spark back in the day. Such an amazing player here that works in cohesion with all these other players on Dreamers that are so top level. Love being able to see high-level contenders players also make their individual showcase to why they're here.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I really love this introduction of these contenders teams into the Overwatch League ecosystem, being able to play against these incredible teams.
Every time the chants go through, you see Dreamers laughing a little bit. They're getting excited. They're feeling the energy of the crowd. And so are we. Getting ready here on push. Let's not forget, Poker Face currently still sitting at match points after winning the first 2 maps. Dreamers looking to turn things around here, while Victoria is still sticking onto this Hanzo, getting more of those open sight lines here by the push spot. Makes a lot of sense.
It really does. If Dreamers were thinking about this, then Liga makes an incredible choice to be able to contend with that Hanzo once again. Being able to lock down Victoria into some of these smaller angles and avenues would make it very difficult for Victoria to end up being able to peek around these pillars and grab those headshots. You can already see how Sad is at an incredible advantage, the more defensed by this defense matrix.
Jumping around each other, trying to get the open sight lines. The follow-up, though, after finding the opportunity to dive onto Victoria. The Khan's going crazy here in favor for Dreams. Probably getting shot once by Sad over on the other side, too. Taking advantage of this means that Poker Face are going to get this space over to Dreamers. They are going to be able to get the advantage first on the bot.
Already going to grab a sizable amount of meterage as well. They have to win one more fight to be able to grab this checkpoint. And with how much space Liga is creating for the team, Sad, Top Dragon, they've got a lot of real estate to work with right now. Muse is having a tough time trying to nail down a target in the back line as really need to start getting those backline picks.
Nana boost coming in from Easton right onto Liga. Immediately trying to contest Muse onto the high ground here as Top Dragon gets taken out by Victoria, who's now made their appearance right back onto this platform. Look how quick Dreamers is to disengage. Recognizing the situation, if they're losing out on Top Dragon, they're immediately going to back away, give that space over to Poker Face to regroup.
That's okay, because you know that Top Dragon on the Tracer will be able to come back relatively quickly. You might as well get set up for the long haul as Poker Face starts to make their way into Dreamers territory. Victoria is looking for another quick pick to try to open up this engagement here for Poker Face, but Muse has got to be careful. Nope, there's the pick.
Almost like a distraction. Muse just trying to have League of focus onto him, then opening things up for reason to get kicked out by Victoria, who has a dragon. Poker Face actually working with so many ults after using that nano boost initially to force them all off the high ground, clear them out, take this team fight now as Poker Face are going to be able to get that progress on the bot.
They're also going to start overtaking Dreamers' progression as well. There will still be enough time for Dreamers to come in and get another contest, but look at how far forward Victoria and Muse get to play. This Hanzo having some free range onto Dreamers. Liga has to take a step forward. Finale with the first drop.
Huge there too, then trying to turn around, gets caught, and that means that there is no rally for this fight from Dreamers. Nice anti-boost in here as the Dragons do get called in from Victoria, clearing some less space behind them, forcing them into the line of sight though of the anti from Simple. In this patiently off the high ground though is going to be Dreamers, not giving the space up just yet, but this does allow Poker Face to get that first checkpoint next round.
Pulse Bomb getting thrown out here is unfortunately not going to be enough to stabilize Dreamers either. They have to throw everything at this and they're still falling.
The rally from Data did get two traditionally from the shield bash from the Aiden Victoria. That caused Victoria to go down. Muse did have the primal immediately also to re-engage. Jumping right over the Dragons here, trying to get right behind Liga, who has the Diva Bomb just to go for a reset once the health goes low. Right in his line of sight into the bubble. Better news for Muse to hold his position. Finale on the other side also has a pulse bomb. We saw the impact Finale had before. Getting it so quick though, is it going to be the case as Top Dragon's going to take him out right before he initiates it?
That was a rough fight for Dreamers though. They had to use 5 ultimates in that fight to be able to take back control of the bot. While Poker Face got the forward spawns to come out for a quick initiation. Muse is already back in the face of Liga as the bot starts to round the corner and Poker Face's ultimates to spare.
Split positioning right now that Poker Face is holding. Finale gonna draw up that back line, gets the follow-up here potentially. Use the nano boost. They try to isolate Sad, who manages to get away. Noticing now though that he's just gonna back away in time instead. It's about contesting, wasting even more time in general here.
Waiting for Top Dragon to end up getting that pulse bomb online. They've got to nail something down with this, but Victoria has already been able to take down his counterpart.
Going back and forth between these two, and Top Dragon going down as well. Victoria having a lot more success in comparison to Sad, at least for this map around. Different look, anti onto Muse. Finale misses out on that pulse bomb. Still being able to hold on to this bot while currently Dreamers have this high ground here. Just playing underneath this bridge could be a nightmare sometimes. That's why Victoria's trying to get a different off angle. Gets a follow-up once again onto Sad while Top Dragon gets the pulse onto Aiden. But that's Sad also just not being able to get set up again.
Poker Face is finding so much value with raw picks alone. It's forcing Dreamers into these awkward positions where they have to throw ultimates. And more than what they would like to be able to take these fights. Poker Face can play keep away. They just have to go on the defensive. They already have the lead and the checkpoint, where Dreamers are going to have to win 2 team fights to be able to match that, maybe even 3. Victoria's getting set up too with this Dragon Strike.
Need to waste more time. Here you go. Just blocks the rotation until where the bot is and then forces them all the way back. Well, now both Face have control and the damage onto the backline of Dada and Houston. Corey Finale here to finish off everybody else as Victoria gets another headshot again. The difference maker here between Victoria and Sad is huge, but it's even crazier to see the follow-up potential that we're having from Muse and these bubbles to clear up that space.
Victoria hits them from the front. Finale tries to swoop in from behind. And with all of the space that Muse is creating as well, this is just perfect communication.
Another pulse bomb pick onto Meeson now. Facing off in the 1v1 while Muse is right behind you. He's just going to be able to find Top Dragon next. Now literally hugging Dreamers by their spawn room doors. Necro, the backline of Poker Face have their ults ready. I was going to mention economy before, but it didn't even matter here because Dreamers still getting stuck out here in their spawn room doors. They had to use up so much and are about to get that nano boost from the Dragons themselves. What can this pulse bomb do? Instead, it's just going to be a reset for Poker Face.
Poker Face don't really have a whole lot that they need to be able to reset for. They wait for the rally, but okay, now
right
they really
in the
have
face
to reset.
Of Sad, the rally that was just in the back away just after the initial pulse bomb there. They gave a little bit of space, and with those dragons, they were grouped up like a can of sardines, allowing Dreamers to clear them off the high ground.
Really nice stuff. Sad for Liga has to go back to spawn, give up quite a bit of ultimate charge to be able to get back into the Diva mech. But the mech itself is so much more valuable than the remech potential we end up seeing coming out from the Diva sometimes. Neeson as well may be able to make up for a little bit of that lost charge with the nano. Liga has been able to make great work of that before.
Awareness coming in from Dada right there, blocking out the full bomb with the barrier. Dragon's getting tossed out by Victoria down mid. Lisa over to the side of mid here. He's getting a good amount of pressure as well. Liga making his way right back in to get the follow-up to prevent him from getting away and popping that primal like he got in that same instance. Simple gets hit with the anti, and the rest of Dreamers are going to be able to clear out Poker Face here, finding some room to breathe to finally get this bot moving in their favor.
They have so much time to make up, though. That distance feels a little insurmountable unless Dreamers can play out the rest of this map perfectly. They've got a minute and a half on the clock, and that's it. 3 ultimates in the bank, 1 incredibly high value. Top Dragon can end up getting a pick with the Pulse Bomb. But Dada's rally gonna come in touch here, too.
Oh!
Stick. Great pick.
The patience right there, too, to execute that just over around the corner. Blink twice, finds Aiden. Now, currently, Dreamers have the advantage with that limited time bank that we had seen originally. Liga being able to also get that onto Simple after utilizing the nano boost. He's a nano boost no longer in the picture here for Poker Face for the next fight. Less than a minute now on the clock for Dreamers to make this miracle run.
They are going to be able to grab the checkpoint, so they have activated their forward spawns. No one from Poker Face able to come back in, touch, and recontest that. And they want to be setting up here on the high ground. Poker Face can close this out here. They have Finale's Pulse Bomb. It has had an incredible attach rate this entire match so far. And no exception here.
Finale has to let everybody know, don't forget to add me into this conversation because I've been out here with these pulse bomb sticks as well. Aiden with the witch shot, finding Sad on the lip of that fence up on the high ground. Tonight we're going to play off that low ground from the bridge here too, and now immediately Poker Face with this limited time back, I've been able to flip this right back around.
This should be it. If Dreamers can't come back into this one and make something work with the 4 ultimates that they have in their bank, I mean, Victoria could just shut everything down here. Throw the Dragon Strike into the loving arms of Muse or Aiden. It's going to be dueling Dragon Strikes here.
Nobody wants to hang out on the bot. Both Dragons. Tip for tat, the nano boost here too. Muse takes the nap, the rally activated from Aiden here. Because it also got the Diva Bomb to reset in necessarily, especially when it comes to clearing up some of that space. Aiden hanging out from the back, but with Finale getting headshot from Sad over the back. He has an ultimate check here. Here comes the Diva Bomb. The clearing of the space from Dreamers. They're keeping the streams alive. Going back and forth. Victoria goes down before taking out Alika with them. The rally has been activated. Dreamers are trying to stay in this fight for as long as possible, but Muse had the primal.
Muse has the primal, but he has to back away. There's too many members of Dreamers on the cart right now, trying to keep their dream alive. Vicky, they need to win this fight. They need this in overtime if they want to stay in the series.
And they're keeping him alive. The nano boost right afterwards here. No, they were right there. Poker Face win. Sad got off the points. Not even a toe touching the bot. Oh, the realization in that moment. That fight was lasting for so long, Necro. Dreamers could have done it. They could have flipped things around. But it's so difficult, honestly, on push once the other team has the advantage at such a significant amount of space.
It is really tough to make a comeback from that position where Poker Face had over double the progress with that bot that what Dreamers had. And I gotta agree with Muse there. That one, maybe a little bit of a C9 coming through from Dreamers, which is a very sad way to end this series. But let's celebrate Poker Face right now, because Poker Face, despite the fact that they had to take 2 early losses in this stage, Vicky, they're starting to turn things around right now with a win over a hot team of Dreamers.
I love it. Poker Face had a pretty difficult start facing off against the Infernal and the Dallas Fuel last week. Now turning things around, setting them up for a nice second week after making some adjustments, taking out Dreamers, the team that everybody had in their sights after their performance in the spring stage knockouts, getting the revenge even, but this roster went through some changes. Poker Face instead here just going in through one change. They lost out on Aztec earlier between knockouts and now here feeling themselves as well. This is what they needed to get that confidence. Once again, we talked about it earlier, but this is a team that has insane Overwatch League level players and former Overwatch League players in the past, and we're going to talk about our player of the match being Finale. We highlighted Victoria, but Finale, especially at the very end, putting their name on the board within the conversation because Finale had such insane tracer plays between the pulse bomb sticks and then the follow-ups that we had hand in hand alongside Victoria when it comes to splitting up the attention and harassing the backline.
I still feel like Victoria got a little robbed here, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it was also a very tough choice to make when you had 2 players that were having such high impact kills time and time again within this match. And you called it. Finale's pulse bomb attach rate was out of this world. And every single time kill popped up in the kill feed or Finale's throwing out a pulse bomb, there was always somebody waiting for that.
A lot of individual players onto Poker Face just did so many great things, even with this opening from Finale. We see Finale, so Valentine here have great
That was
impact
a way
on
to
the
kick off
team,
the
but
series.
Victoria here too. Yeah, right? And that's a way to start things off for Poker Face to
Power
continue
play.
on that aggressiveness and why we're highlighting Finale in general. Even to the very end with those Tracer Pulse Bomb. I was even looking at Aiden having those highlight moments himself. A lot of these individual players from Poker Face doing a really good job of Finale. Really had such a series here to continue on the momentum from Poker Face initial success. Even with this cheeky play, Necro dropping down and then getting the stick up to Meeson.
Meeson didn't know! Meeson had absolutely no idea that Finale was up there and waiting for him. Ah, poor Meeson, we're doing him so dirty in this highlight reel as well. Just time and time again on the receiving end of those Finale pulse bombs. Oh man, even getting the Tracer versus Tracers too, just stealing the health packs away from Top Dragon. Oh no! Oh, poor Dada. It's rough out here. It's rough out here being a support in a Tracer meta.
It was beautiful. The side-by-side from Aiden helping out Finale, Victoria, simple with these follow-ups between the anti into allowing Finale to get the finishing blow. The cohesion from Poker Face was definitely there. We talked about using the spaces they would have built up, but these high ground drops into these pulse bomb sticks from Finale has been chef's kiss. Nice entertainment here as we take a look at the stats from this last match. Gonna see it here too, 16 elims. The survivability, huge here. When it comes to these push maps too. We know that Tracer could get involved in the fight just as quick, but it's big to be able to have that impact in helping out your other support. And in this case, that's exactly what we saw here. The pulse bomb kills that we also saw too, but we did see a plethora of stakes going on throughout the entirety of the series.
Finale was able to be self-sufficient enough that Aiden and Simple could focus on just keeping Muse alive, which was really fantastic to see. But we do have an interview, so let's hear from Unknown and his translations.
2023 오버워치 리그 서머 스테이지 퀄리파이어 동부 오늘의 세 번째 경기로 인사드립니다. 안녕하세요, 손혜민입니다.
Hello, this is Son Hemin, your
네,
host
뜨거운
for
현장
the interview.
열기와 함께했던 오프라인 경기였는데요. 포커페이스가 3대1 스코어로 드리머즈의 연승을 끊어냅니다. 오늘의 POTM 피날레 선수 모시고 바로 이야기 나눠보도록 할게요. 안녕하세요.
And we have Finale on the floor.
승리
Hello.
축하드립니다. 지금 기분 어떠신가요?
How do you feel?
그냥 그렇네요. 이길 줄 알아서.
아 원래
Well, I
이길 줄
mean,
알았다.
nothing out of the usual.
말씀하셨습니다.
We thought we would win
근거가
today.
뭔지 여쭤봐도 될까요?
경기를 봤는데 드리머즈 그냥 더 저희가 더 잘하는 것 같아서
So I've been
아,
watching Dreamers play, and I think we
하지만
were
이제
just
많은 분들이
just the- we were
스코어를
just
두고
the
보자면
better team.
드리머즈는 2대 0인 상황이었고 포커페이스는 반대인 상황이었습니다. 그래서 일각에서는 대진 운이 살짝 나쁘지 않았나라는 평가도 있었는데 그거에 대해서는 어떻게
there was a
생각하시나요?
lot of talk about your how Poker Face was unlucky
차에
with the fixtures.
조금
Do you care to
힘들긴
comment?
했는데 나머지 경기는 이제 다 이길 만한 경기니까
Oh, I do
괜찮아요.
agree that we were a little unlucky with the
전체적으로
early
포커페이스의
fixtures, but
폼이 다 좋은
the
편인가요?
fixtures that are coming
네,
up are
저는
definitely
그렇게
doable. So I
가장
believe that we can
좋다고
come back really
생각하는
strong.
선수가 있을까요?
저는 일단 오늘 메인 딜러 한 빅토리아 선수
맞습니다.
So who's the
오늘 뭐
player with the best
명장면을
form
꼽자면
in
정말
Poker Face?
많겠지만 그중
I
단연
think
미드타운을
Victoria
꼽을 수 있을 것
is
같습니다.
really, really
네.
good these days.
포커페이스는 한조, 트레이서 그리고 윈스턴을 기용을 하셨죠.
So let's look at the
근데 그
compositions
중에
that you're playing.
윈스턴과 트레이는
You played a lot of the Hanzo with the Winston and Tracer. Hanzo is not really the meta. Do you
일단
think
저희
that
팀 메인
Hanzo
딜러
just has
한조를
high
잘
value,
쓰기도
or
하고
is this just a
저희 팀
rush
플레이 스타일에
counter
맞는 것
specific?
같아서
네.
그거 한조를 이제 기용하는 쪽으로 하게 됐습니다.
이제 상대 드리머즈가 러쉬를 조금 많이
I
잘
think this is
쓰는
more, yeah, I think this is more of a
팀이라서
rush
의식하는 것도
counter
있을까요?
for us
네, 그
because we've
부분도
been seeing
약간
that Dreamers have been doing a lot of rush, and this is one of the measures that we, countermeasures that we prepared for that specific composition.
뭐 먹혀 들었던 것만은 아닌 것 같습니다. 특히 66번 국도에서 이 한조를 의식한 상대의 디바 기용이 있었잖아요. 그때 살짝 주춤하는 모습이었던 것 같은데 그때
So sometimes
어떤
the
콜이
Hanzo didn't
오갔을까요?
always work. Like in
약간
Red 666, we
상대가
noticed that
잘하기도 했는데
Dreamers were
저희가
bringing out the
실수한
diva
부분이
to
좀 많았기
maybe
때문에
counter that
그
threat
부분
from the
고쳐서
Hanzo.
이제 다음
So
세트
what
이겨보는
were your comms like?
있었어요.
그렇게 피드백이 오갔기 때문에
Yeah,
다
so
정리를
we've
하고
noticed
다음
that they were
세트에서
really
또
aware
좋은
of the
모습을
Hanzo,
보여주신
and
것
so
같은데
we just talked with
처음부터 끝까지
with each other a lot, and I think the communications were very clear, and we worked around. Even I mean, yes, compositions are important, but it's not everything. So.
트레의 그 지원이 있었기 때문에 좀 프리딜을 한 게 아닌가라는 생각이 드는데 피날레 선수가 어떻게 지원을 했는지 조금 구체적으로 말씀해 주실 수 있을까요?
So we're keep talking about the Hanzo. Hanzo had a lot of
편하게
space to do a lot of damage.
사이드에 돈을
As
딜러가
Tracer,
없이
we believe
이제
that
잘 막아줬던 것
you
같아요.
you know opened up a lot of space. What was your role in the team? Was that your
근데
role
그
as
와중에
Tracer to open
제가
up the
개인
space for
화면을
Hanzo?
중간중간 보면 쉬지 않고 상대 힐러에게 펄스를 부착하시더라고요.
Yeah.
일부러 노린 건가요?
That's
힐러만?
definitely one of the roles that Tracer should be doing.
약간 조합으로 봤을 때는 이제 힐러가 제일 붙이기 쉬운 것도
And
있고
also,
그래요?
we have to talk about your pulse
잘 나온
bombs.
것 같아서
We've
오늘.
seen a lot of
아,
pulse
각이
bomb
조금 잘
attaches to
나왔다라고
the
말씀을 해주셨는데
support line.
피날레 선수도
Was
스프링
that
시즌에서도
your
그렇고
specific goal to
한조를
attach
좋은 모습을
pulse bombs onto
보여주셨잖아요.
this support line?
한조 하고 싶은 욕심은
Well,
없으신가요?
not really, but supports are
솔직히
usually the
한데
most vulnerable to
지금
pulse
빅토리아
bombs, so
선수가 저보다 더잘 쏘는 것
that's
같아서.
usually why I go for them.
그럼 개인적인 질문으로는 한조를 플레이할 때 더 재밌으세요? 트레 할 때 더 재밌으세요?
So, a personal question:
솔직히 한조가 좀 더
is it more fun when you play Hanzo or the Tracer?
언젠가 피날레 선수의 한조가 나올 수
The
있게
Hanzo
한번
is definitely more fun to
기대를
play.
해보도록 하겠습니다. 다음 매치는 바로 내일입니다. 상하이 드래곤즈와의 매치가 있는데요. 상대팀의 가장 위협적인
Tomorrow you
선수나
go against the
포지션이 있을까요?
Dragons. Are there any players that you're looking out for?
개인적으로 이리스 선수
왜죠?
Personally,
서울요?
I'm looking out for Iris.
약간 아나를 기용하는데 잘 살기도 하고 힐뱅각도 좀 좋은 것 같아서
Well, I chose
제일
Iris
견제되지
because
그럼
he has a lot of good survivability, and then
피날레
also his
선수가 또
nades are
부착으로
really on
괴롭힐 수도
point. So
있으니까요.
that's why I'm looking out for him.
좋습니다. 현장에 오프라인 경기이기 때문에 매우 많은 분들이 찾아와 주셨는데요. 팬분들께 마지막으로
A
한번
lot of fans are
해주시죠.
here on the stadium
오랜만에
to cheer
하는 이제
you.
오프라인
Do you have any
경기였는데
message to the fans?
찾아와 주셔서 감사하고 이제 다음번 경기할 때도 와주시면 감사하겠습니다.
Thank you for coming
네,
and
지금까지
supporting us as always,
포커페이스의
and
피날레 선수와
we hope
인터뷰
you can come next
나눠봤습니다.
time as well.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.
And that's the end of the interview. Back to you.
네, 이렇게 오늘의 모든 준비된 경기를 보내드렸습니다. 서서히 윤곽이 잡혀가고 있는 서머 스테이지가 아닐까라는 생각이 드는데요. 또 어떠한 드라마 같은 반전이
Thank you so much, Unknown. Listening to the thoughts that we have from our players is always the best thing, but Unknown also being the GOAT to translate that for us. And you guys heard it here too. They'll be playing against the Dragons tomorrow, which is going to be exciting to see after their performance today, Necra. And of course, that's not all the action. After everything that we had seen today, the Charge, they lose out on the Soul Inferno, who are still continuing on their domination. Saw the Dallas Fuel also take it 3-1 versus the Dragons, who are putting up a good fight. And then at the end of the day, we definitely wrapped it up with a nice, pretty bow between Dreamers and Poker Face, where Poker Face were able to take it 3-1.
It's been such exciting action all day already in the Eastern region, and I cannot wait to see how the rest of the stage is going to unfold as well, because we still have 2 more full match days coming at you tomorrow and Sunday, as well as also action happening in the Western region. Gotta see how everything is going to shake out for those standings, as only the top 3 from the Eastern region can make it forward. And here's where they all stand right now.
Oh, here we got it. Dallas Fuel hold the top for right now. Soul Inferno right behind them with the current early standings of their early matches here. Dreamers right behind them with a very strong start. Just slowly inching their way forward is going to be Poker Face, as we see them currently in 7th place. But look at the overall standings. This is going to change a lot since we are only on the week 2 matches that have been played. Also really nice to see our local teams being able to play off against each other. Shout out to the audience once again in the WDG Esports studio in Seoul. And there are more matches to look forward to, like Nextred was just saying. Got a lot of more matches throughout the course of the weekend. You definitely don't want to miss out on the action here. Write down the time, set up an alarm, make sure you guys tune in. And even though that may be it here in APAC land, there's still so much to look forward to over on the west side, Necra.
I'm so excited about these matches tomorrow, though. I feel like Hangzhou Spark and Seoul Dynasty is going to be so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
That is the match that I am looking forward to watching the most when it comes down to these 4. But we also get a chance to maybe see the Guangzhou Charge and how they're going to fare up against a team like Panthera. And as you said, a lot of shakeups still to be expected as all of our Eastern teams play 7 matches, I believe. So those standings, absolutely not final yet.
Yeah, that's why that overall standings is going to change up a lot. I'm also really excited to see how Poker Face does against the Shanghai Dragons. You know, just to add a little spice into the mix after their performance for today. Shanghai Dragons definitely try to put up a really good fight against the Dallas Fuel, a team that is hailed as one of the teams that have made the adjustments necessary to be on the top here, right next to the Seoul Infernal. It's been a great time so far, Necra. I'm excited to also see the teams facing off over in the West. But that's going to be all the action for today here in APAC, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, we got a lot more Overwatch League action happening very soon. You don't want to miss out on it, and we'll see you later today.
The drug.